The main gate of the Auschwitz I camp with the inscription Arbeit macht frei, work sets you free, one of the most infamous Nazi concentration camps. Nazi Germany under Adolf Hitler created a network of concentration camps that became a symbol of terror and barbarity during World War II. Between 1933 and 1945, the Nazi regime established tens of thousands of camps throughout Europe and imprisoned millions of people in them. In these places, prisoners experienced torture, starvation, forced labor, uncontrolled disease, and mass murder. Concentration camps initially held Nazi political opponents, but later evolved into systematic extermination camps, especially for Jews, Roma, Soviet prisoners of war, ethnic Poles, and other groups deemed enemies by the Nazis. The rise of Nazi power in Germany in 1933 paved the way for the establishment of the first concentration camps. Immediately after Hitler became chancellor in January 1933, the Nazi regime began arresting political opponents and groups they hated, then detaining them in early concentration camps. Dachau concentration camp, established in March 1933, is recorded as the first Nazi camp and served as a model for subsequent camps. Throughout the 1930s, the Nazis built and centralized the camp system under SS control. By the outbreak of World War II in 1939, at least 7 major camps had been established, including Sachsenhausen, Buchenwald, Neuengamme, Mauthausen, and Ravensbrück. Ravensbrück was special because it was a concentration camp specifically for women, the largest detention center for female prisoners in Nazi Germany at that time. Conditions in these camps were brutal from the beginning, but the scale worsened during the war when the Nazis began to implement the final solution to exterminate European Jews with the establishment of extermination camps such as Auschwitz-Birkenau. In extermination camps, thousands of people were killed every day in gas chambers, specifically designed for genocide. During the Nazi era, not only men were perpetrators of atrocities in the camps, thousands of German women were also recruited as concentration camp guards, Aufseherinnen. Approximately 3,500 women are known to have served as guards in Nazi camps. The SS advertised vacancies in newspapers for German women. The advertisements promised high salaries, comfortable lodging, and free food, an enticing offer for young working-class women who had limited career options at the time. Many applicants were attracted because the job as a camp guard was considered more appealing and lucrative than working in a regular factory. In addition to material incentives, Nazi ideology was also deeply ingrained in some of them. As the war progressed, the need for female guards drastically increased. After Germany's defeat at Stalingrad in early 1943 and Goebbels' declaration of total war, the Nazis began to broaden recruitment criteria. All prospective female guards were sent to Ravensbrück for special training. Ravensbrück, which opened in May 1939, served as the central camp for female prisoners, as well as a training center for the Aufseherinnen. There they were given SS uniforms, trained in military discipline, and sworn allegiance to Hitler and the Nazis. After training, these female guards were placed in various camps, including extermination camps such as Auschwitz-Birkenau and Bergen-Belsen. Although female, these Aufseherinnen were known to be as cruel as their male counterparts. Many survivor testimonies describe the extraordinary brutality of the female guards, ranging from physical torture to merciless murder. Among the female camp guards, Maria Mandl was one of the most feared and brutal figures. Born in Münzkirchen, Austria in 1912, Maria Mandl moved to Germany after the Anschluss in 1938. She lost her old job and was interested in joining the SS, reportedly because of the higher salary. It was even mentioned that her uncle, who worked in the camp system, persuaded her to join. Mandl's career in concentration camps began in October 1938 as an Aufseherin at Lichtenberg, the first SS women's prison camp. When Lichtenberg closed, she and the prisoners were transferred to Ravensbrück in early 1939. It was at Ravensbrück that Mandl honed her reputation as a brutal guard. For several years, she rose through the ranks from a regular Aufseherin to Oberaufseherin, or senior supervisor. In 1942, Mandl reached the peak of her career when she was transferred to Auschwitz-Birkenau in Poland, and appointed as SS Lagerführerin, the head of the women's camp in Birkenau. As Lagerführerin of Auschwitz-Birkenau, Mandl was known for performing her duties with ruthless cruelty. The prisoners nicknamed her the Beast due to her brutality and her pleasure in selecting women and children to be sent to the gas chambers. Mandl was directly involved in the selection of prisoners, the process of determining who was strong enough for forced labor and who would be killed. One sadistic selection method remembered by survivors. Mandl stood at the gate when groups of female prisoners returned from forced labor, holding a stick about 50 centimeters from the ground. Anyone who could not jump over the stick was considered weak and immediately separated to be sent to the gas chambers. In these ways, Mandl was responsible for deaths on a horrific scale. She personally signed approximately 500,000 execution orders during her service. Maria Mandl also enjoyed directly torturing prisoners. She often carried a whip and a truncheon wherever she went, and did not hesitate to personally punish prisoners for trivial offenses. Witnesses recounted that Mandl was able to break a prisoner's jaw with a single blow. She once brutally beat prisoners caught with their hands in their pockets, secretly smoking, or even just rubbing their noses with their hands. Every morning during roll call, Mandl stood overseeing thousands of women with a sharp gaze, ready to inflict physical punishment at any time. The nickname "the Beast" truly described her, as she was considered a cold-blooded butcher in the camp. Ironically, behind her sadism, Mandl had a seemingly soft side that only added to the horror of the situation. She loved classical music and used music as a tool of manipulation in the camp. At Mandl's command, the Auschwitz Women's Orchestra was formed, consisting of prisoner musicians. This orchestra was forced to play on various occasions as Mandl wished, from morning roll call ceremonies, when new prisoner transports arrived, to accompanying victims being led to the gas chambers. Besides music, Mandl also seemed to like small children, but in a horrifying way. When train transports arrived carrying children without parents, Mandl reportedly would take the children, hold them, and sing songs to calm them. However, after a few days of sweet treatment, these unfortunate children were eventually sent by Mandl herself to the gas chambers for execution. Towards the end of World War II, as Germany's defeat became imminent, top officials and camp staff attempted to escape to avoid responsibility for their crimes. In November 1944, as Soviet forces approached Poland, Maria Mandl was transferred out of Auschwitz to another camp in southern Germany, Mühldorf. In Auschwitz-Birkenau, the Nazi regime began destroying traces of their crimes and evacuating the camp. Mandl was among the perpetrators who left the death camp before Soviet troops liberated it in January 1945. After Germany surrendered in May 1945, Mandl tried to hide. She returned to her parents' home, but according to records, her own father refused to hide her in the house. Mandl's escape did not last long. On October 8, 1945, she was arrested by American forces. Mandl was then handed over to Polish authorities in 1946 to be tried at the scene of her crimes. In Poland, Maria Mandl faced trial in the Auschwitz trial in Krakow. This trial took place in late 1947, where Mandl and more than 40 other Auschwitz staff members were indicted for war crimes and crimes against humanity. On December 22, 1947, the court delivered its verdict. Maria Mandl was sentenced to death for her role in the selection of prisoners for the gas chambers, sending thousands of people to their deaths, and countless tortures during her tenure as camp head. On January 24, 1948, Maria Mandl's death sentence was carried out at Montelupich Prison, Krakow. The 36-year-old woman, once dubbed the Beast, was hanged to death, ending the history of one of the most cruel Nazi camp guards.